I like talking about the crime stuff, just interesting, weird crimes that I find that happen. And on March 18th, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston was robbed. And this is a pretty cool robbery that occurred. It was about 1:20 in the morning. Two men show up at the museum dressed as police officers. They tell the two on-duty guards, well, there's one guy manning the desk, the other one's out patrolling, and they come in and say, "We're responding to a distress call that, one that the guards figured there must have been someone jumped a fence and the cops were called or something like that." So they let the cops in, and then they one of the cops is looking at the guy behind the desk and says, "Like, you look familiar. We might have a warrant for you. Can we get your ID?" So the guy gets up and comes around from around the desk so he can pull out his ID. The only silent alarm was behind that desk. So these guys knew to get him away from the desk so that way they could keep themselves from having the alarm go off. So they handcuff him. The other guard comes in. They handcuff him. They lead these guys to the basement. Then they go on and steal 13 works of art from the museum over the course of the next 81 minutes. And the value of the art has been estimated to be between $200 to $600 million.
Damn.
This is the highest value museum robbery in history.
Damn.
Lots of money. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars is pretty crazy. There's a $10 million reward offered by the museum for any information leading to the return of these paintings and stuff. That's the highest reward that's ever been offered by a private institution.
Damn.
So $10 million. So you got to keep. Well, next time when we go back to like 1989, keep our eyes open and see if you see anybody planning anything. There have been no arrests in connection to this. There have been no recoveries of any of the art. It's all just missing, completely unsolved. They don't have any clue who took it or who these guys are. Because this museum was the way it was laid out in Isabella Stewart Gardner's will is that nothing could ever be added or taken away from the collection. So they left all of the empty frames just hanging where they were. It kind of in remembrance of the paintings and awaiting the return of the art should they ever be recovered. The statute of limitations for this crime actually expired back in 1995, which is pretty fast, I thought. You could steal $600 million worth of art, lay low for 5 years, and then you're chill.
I feel like 10 years makes more sense.
Yeah, statutes of limitations are weird in general. I don't really understand why you're just like, oh, we can't get you now. Like, we prove there's a video of you murdering this guy. And it's like, well, it's too late.
I think it made sense prior to videotapes. Because then it's like, I don't believe what you said, what you're saying happened 5 years ago. You can't get, you know what I mean? Like, how do you know that you even remember that correctly?
Yeah. Like it's just as more concrete evidence is available, it makes sense. But when you're relying on just word of mouth and some guy's like, I remember it was 10 years ago. You're like, I don't think I trust you, Grandpa. So they can come forward and give information and give the paintings back if they want to at this point, and they wouldn't get in trouble. The feds say that no prosecution is going to come to anybody who returns any artwork. So these guys are free and clear if they want to ever give it back, which sounds outlandish. But in 1994, there was a letter that was sent to the museum saying they wanted to negotiate the return of the artwork. Like the guys were like, done. We regret taking this. It was
I couldn't sell it.
Yeah. I'm sure that this was the very well-known pieces of art that are stolen now. Yeah, they're the most well-known. You're just like sitting on.
And if they try to sell it to somebody, it's like, why would I not just turn you in for the
$10 million? Mm-hmm. And keep the Rembrandt. Just like, I'll take it. Yeah, let me take 2 Rembrandts and keep one, and then tell the cops about all the other stuff. But they said they want to negotiate the return for $2.6 million. So like, we'll give you back the art, and you give us $2 million. 2.6. I don't know why specifically 2.6. But then they said, if you agree, if you will do this museum, if you agree to our terms, print this coded message in the Boston Globe. And they did. They did post. They said, okay, well, we're going to do it. We'll post they posted the coded message. Then they got a follow-up letter that was like kind of them backing out. They got scared. They're like, it seems like there's a lot of attention now on this, so we're just gonna keep the paintings. And then they just like didn't never wrote back again. They were not.
Damn.
Who knows for sure if they really were the guys, but that was like the most credible lead there ever was.
Damn, and they never got caught, huh?
No, nothing. Nobody ever. There have been. They think.
Masterminds.
Though it's weird though because they took the stuff they took, like they did a really shoddy job of like cutting the paintings out of their frames. They didn't cut them out super clean, and like they fucked them up just by cutting them instead of like removing the thing and like undoing them and shit like that. There was a proper way to steal art that they didn't do, and then they say they probably weren't transported appropriately, so they probably got damaged even further. And then there was one thing they tried to get this big like flag down, and they like started to take off all these screws, and then they get like halfway through they just stopped, and so they just grabbed a little like eagle off the top of the flagpole that like is pretty much like not it was basically worthless compared to the rest of the stuff. So they're just like got frustrated, like grab the eagle, let's go, let's get out of here. So they kind of seemed like they weren't professionals. They obviously didn't have a plan with what to do with the art afterwards. So yeah, they just seemed sort of like they bumbled their way through this thing. So there either were a couple of fools who I don't know, just sort of lucked their way into doing this. Actually, one of the security guards said that he thinks that the mustache one of the cops was like fake. So like you guys are wearing like fake mustaches. And so yeah,
you couldn't have grown a mustache out for like a couple weeks before this. You didn't have to even plan that far ahead.
But people think it could have been Whitey Bulger, like the crime boss, that he might have had something to do with it. There's a lot of people that they like investigated in the Boston Mafia, so it could have been organized crime. They just never really had any credible, solid leads though. They thought for a minute it could have been one of the security guards, but because he was the only when they recorded, they looked at like the security systems they had. It records like when footsteps occurred in different rooms, and the only footsteps that occurred in the third floor where there were robberies occurred when this guard Rick Abath was doing his rounds. That's the only time anyone was walking up there. So it's like possible that he grabbed some of the stuff and like hid it in a different area, and then when the robbery occurred, he was either part of it or he orchestrated. He told them how to get in, but he never got implicated in any sort of way. And actually, one of the like lead investigators, he specifically said like those security guards who worked there were kind of too dumb to have done this. And so he actually said like, I think they're kind of bumbling idiots. I don't think that they would have been able to accomplish
It sounds
this.
like a couple bumbling idiots did it, so maybe they did.
Yeah, they just like just grabbed the shit, put it in their car, and then like tied themselves up in the basement and waited for the new guards to show up.
Just handcuff. They didn't even tie themselves up. Handcuffs. You can handcuff yourself so easily.
Yeah, you can handcuff your friend even easier. Just both you guys go back.
Even if you're handcuffed, you can handcuff your friend. It'd be so
exactly.
easy to do.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we just cracked this, and we got to call the Boston Museum and let them know $10 million is coming.
Dang, is that $10 million still up for sale?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever got it. Just tell them, listen, did you think that maybe it was both the security guards? And they're like, fuck, no, we didn't. We never thought of that. Ah, shit, we got to give these guys $10 million. This podcast is making us money already. Look at it. Look at that. All right, that's it for the robbery of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum.